Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley. I post a video every single Sunday where I show you 3 different meals I made this week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you are interested, I've linked some similar recipes down below. The first dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some spicy mozzarella chicken pasta. So I'm starting out with 1.5 chicken breast. I like to butterfly my chicken breast in half. I'm just seasoning it with some McCormick garlic and herb seasoning, some garlic salt, and some paprika. For my side, I'm going to be using some broccoli, so I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of oil and then I'm going to season with that same garlic and herb seasoning and some pepper. This will go in the oven at about 350 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to get started cooking my chicken on medium heat. I have a pan with a little bit of oil and I'm just going to place all 3 pieces of chicken in the pan and I'm going to let it brown on the one side and then I'm going to flip it. After I flip the chicken, I like to put a lid on the chicken just to trap all the juices, but also to let it cook all the way through. When the chicken was done, I just removed it to a cutting board to let it rest, and now I'm going to use all that's left from the chicken. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic and then start making the sauce. I don't measure anything, and that's something you will learn very quickly, so I'm just adding all of this heavy cream basically because I'm cooking a whole box of pasta and that's basically my measuring. I'm going to start seasoning the sauce with some red pepper flakes, some garlic salt, and some onion powder. I'm going to give this a nice mix and let it come up to a simmer, and then I'm going to add my cheese. Once it comes up to the simmer, I'm just going to add a handful of my queso quesadilla cheese and let it melt down. While I was cooking the sauce, I had a box of rigatoni noodles cooking in some water, and then I'm just going to add those noodles into my sauce. I very much realized that this was way too small of a pan, but it works out in the end. So after the chicken rested for about 10 minutes, I just chopped it up into some slices, and now I'm adding it into the pasta. I'm just going to give this a nice mix and make sure everything is coated with all of the sauce. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just cooked a piece of garlic bread for my fiance, and I would definitely make this again. This next dinner I've never even attempted. This is called Smothered baked burritos. I will give you the full rundown on what I would do differently next time. But I'm just starting out making my Mexican rice, so I just added a little bit of oil to a pan and added 1 cup of white rice. I'm going to stir this around till it's nice and toasted, and then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of cumin. Again, I'm just going to stir this around till it's nice and fragrant, and then I'm going to add half a can of tomato sauce. I like to let the tomato sauce cook down, and then I'm going to add 2 cups of water. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of tomato bouillon and 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon. I'm going to give this a nice stir, make sure everything is well combined, and then I'm going to bring this up to a boil. So I cooked a couple chicken breasts in my Instant Pot and shredded it. Now I'm just going to add that chicken to my pan and season it. So then I'm going to add 1 cup of water and 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon, which is about the equivalent of chicken broth. I'm also going to season the chicken with some taco seasoning from Costco, some cumin, and some onion powder. I'm going to give this a nice mix, and once it starts cooking, the chicken will absorb about all of that juice. Also, for the filling of the burritos, I'm going to add 1 can of pinto beans. I'm gonna let this all cook together, and then I'm adding a mixture of my green enchilada sauce and sour cream. This is also the sauce that goes on top of the burritos. And this is what the filling of the burritos look like, so I'm going to start assembling them. So to the bottom of my 13x9 dish, I just have some enchilada sauce. I'm going to add some of that rice I cooked, some of the chicken filling, some cheese, and then I'm going to roll it all up. I'm going to repeat the process with all my burritos. I learned I could add a little bit more filling, so I did in the rest of the burritos. One thing I would do differently is add some salsa in here. I just feel like I was missing my favorite restaurant's salsa. So now I'm just going to top the burritos with that mixture I made with green enchilada sauce and sour cream. This is the part that I just would completely omit next time, even baking them. I would just take that tortilla with all the hot filling and I would spoon some of the sauce on top without baking it. What this did was just make it super soggy and the flour tortilla just felt kind of chewy. Just giving my honest opinion, it was still good, but I definitely wouldn't bake a flour tortilla. The next meal I made for you is literally my favorite thing ever. They are my breakfast tacos. So I'm going to start off with cooking my hash browns. I just have a bag of shredded hash browns. It is pretty self-explanatory. I just added some oil to the pan, added the hash browns, and I'm going to cook them until they're nice and brown. I just added a little bit of salt and pepper to the hash browns. I didn't add too much salt because I know my fiance always adds salt to his food, so I didn't want it to be too salty. So once the hash browns were done, I just started working on my bacon. I cooked 6 pieces of bacon. I know they do not all fit in this pan, but we're gonna make it work. So I'm just going to cook up my 6 pieces of bacon. We don't like them too crispy, so I didn't make them too crispy. So once the bacon was done, I just picked them up, drip off the excess oil, and put them onto a paper towel, and then I will cut them later. So once the bacon was done, I did drain out all the oil as much as I could, but I am going to cook my eggs in the same pan. I cooked about 5 eggs, and as you see, it really doesn't look like very much. So I'm just going to cook my scrambled eggs like normal. I don't really have a specific method. I'm not an egg pro, but this just works fine. I don't see 5 eggs there, but this is how my tacos look when they're done. I just add some cheese, some avocado, and some salsa. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you come back next week for another one.